Well, it is down to the final game here at the British Columbia U18 Provincial Championship from the Delta Thistle Curling Club. Practice is over. It's time to get out on the ice to determine the women's champion. We crowned the men earlier today, and now it is a battle. Gracelyn Richards against Emily Bowles. A title to be determined here in 8 ends. I'm Luke Coley, joined with Olympian Melissa Saligo. Always a pleasure to be joined by Melissa for this one. What can we expect from these two teams? Had identical 3-2 records in round robin play.
Yeah, both these teams have lots of experience behind them. They've had a great week here. Obviously, it's been quite a battle with both teams having the 3-2 record. Team Bowles obviously getting the bye to the final, but I expect both teams to go after each other. Again, we talked about it in the men's game. Both teams are going to nationals, but that doesn't matter as much as it does is to win a provincial championship.
Yeah, we said that the crown of being a BC champion can never be taken away. It's something you can always have, no matter what happens after this. Both teams will try to do that. It is a battle. Gracelyn Richards against this Emily Bowles team. It was an Emily Bowles win in round robin play. It was 6-5, so we'll expect another close one, and a lot of great shots to be made. It was a great shot that Gracelyn Richards made to get to the final, beating Team Wheatcroft in their semifinal game. So if we get half as many of those shots, we're in for a good one.
Oh, that was such an exciting final to that semi yesterday. That last end was incredible. Wheatcroft was all over them, actually. They had great rock placement in the forefoot and that incredible shot by Gracelyn Richards to cap it off and play the run back and get the win. What a great shot. But congratulations to Team Wheatcroft on their bronze medal.
Yeah, and down to it, there was a 6-team field, all narrowed down to just 2 teams here. As it'll be the Hammer belonging to Emily Bowles. Gracelyn Richards and her team will get it started. Their lead, Carly Hardy, and they'll have the Red Stones here in this championship final.
We had a great look at the ice this morning, Luke, for the men's final. The ice was running beautiful, about 15 seconds, 15 and a half almost, and it was curling a good 3.5, almost 4 feet in spots. So a little bit more curl, I think, than we've seen for the majority of the week, which is awesome. And so both these teams are going to have to pay attention to how the ice reacts right here in the first end.
So the first stone goes into the house, and we'll see the hit here for the lead team, Emily Bowles. Chelsea Taylor. Looks like just out of the rings on that roll. I think they're hoping to maybe get it onto the paint.
I think it's out. No, I guess it's in.
We were wrong once in the first game. Just once, though. We're already wrong here in the first end.
Okay, so that's it. We're done.
Yeah, we got to be perfect from here on out.
That's right.
Nose hit actually is pretty good right now, Melissa.
It is, and you know, I thought with the nose hit on that previous one, obviously it would have been just outside the rings, which would have been a great for Team Bowles, sorry. And the reason I'm going to probably get that mixed up a few times is this was Team Taylor. Jensen Taylor used to skip this team and has gone to university this year, so she has left the team for now, and Emily Bowles stepping in at skip. So I'll try and keep that straight.
They're trying to go around this guard. And we saw really being able to use the sweeping in the men's game earlier today and unable to get around it. Leaves those 2 out in front in that control zone.
Yeah, pretty good weight, I would say. Maybe just a little bit light. Another couple feet of weight would have been perfect. So
decision which way, try and get around that. Be Grace McCusker to try the intern come around.
Grace just joining this team this year. The third and Skip on the team Richards have been together quite a number of years and have had lots of success. So Carly Hardy and Grace McCusker now being the front end. Oh, nice shot.
A lot of good results on that. They didn't actually get the straight come around, but they chipped 2 into the rings.
What a big difference that makes as well, Luke. And you know, you get the straight come around that might have been a little bit heavy gone behind the tee line, but because it chipped it, it forces team bowls now to have to remember that that other rock is in. So if we were to say anything at this point, it would be the force is on.
Well, they hit, try and get the big roll in behind cover and right back. Oh, well, you make that split, we'll just roll right into the 4-foot behind cover.
What a fantastic shot. That's not bad for the first end of a provincial final.
And doesn't look like many nerves for both these teams. And both are familiar to this level and these championship games. They've both been to national events. They've been around in the provincial side, which actually helps at this stage. You don't get as many nerves when you've been there before.
That's very true. It's very true. And like we said, majority of these players have been in these big games. You got to draw on that experience and try and keep their nerves in check.
Oh, and the run back, unable to get that other one out, but it kicks it out in the open. So again, another great shot back. Kira McCoy, second for Team Bowls.
Trying to roll it on and didn't quite get it, but in a very good spot.
Yeah, so the run back didn't remove that stone, kicked in the open. Now they're going to be able to make a play on it. They have to be aware of that blue stone tight to the rings.
Not a great spot that you want your opposition stone to be in for sure, but if Keeley could ever get a nice hit and roll, preferably behind her own rock, that would be ideal. So big shot here the first end. Huge exchange of stones going on and some great shot making.
Well, they want to try and stick maybe a little roll, and sits in the 4-foot to lie 1 here in this first end of the provincial championship final.
So you heard the 11, that's the speed of the rock between the two hog lines. So a nice, probably hacked aboard weight.
Just touches it, they get away with it, touching that top one. And did they push it in? I think either way we'll probably see the hit.
I would agree. It's way too close to leave and way too scary for Team Richards. This is a good call by Graceland.
I heard nose on that one, Melissa, is what they're looking for.
Yeah, nose isn't too bad. They could try and roll it onto the rings. It would just mean they'd probably exchange stones for the rest of the end, but trying to get it to spin in.
Spin at the end. Not quite in, so now See if they can try and use those 2 stones out in front.
And that's the importance of that rock. If you nose it, you're going to probably see Emily Bowles taking a shot at it because it's so close to the rings. But because it rolled away and didn't roll into the rings, it does give a little bit of a door opening here now for Meredith to try and get one with hammer here in the first, to try and bury behind their opposition cornerstone. This looks like it's got quite a bit of weight.
I thought I heard for the tick, an alert call. Just make sure it gets into the rings. They were going to be through if it didn't touch that stone. Trying to make something
Definitely.
of that.
Yeah, smart call, good communication.
So skip stones of this first end. Gracelyn Richards will head down. Probably just a nose hit.
I would think so. It's always nice to make your opponent have to throw a shot, a harder shot. You know, if you happen to roll out, it gives her a free opportunity to try and get another one buried behind that corner guard. So you want to keep your shooter in the rings and make Emily Bowles have to shoot at something.
Trying to carve this one over, so, pardon me, hold the line. And it will roll out of the rings. Opportunity for Emily Bowles and her team to maybe get a skip's deuce.
Great chance here for Emily now to not only see the line of the shot, try to draw behind that corner guard, but also to get an idea what her draw weight is. We talked about this in the first game. It's in the men's final. It's really important to get that draw weight as early as possible in these games.
Well, for Emily, it's a draw where she doesn't have as much risk as if it was facing 2 or 3 and had to make a perfect freeze. That's why you see sometimes a little more conservative in the early going of these games.
This front end of Chelsea and Kira have worked together a long time. They've got great communication.
Yeah, that communication important, and I heard them talking the whole way as this one goes back part of the rings.
So a bit of an opportunity here now for Gracelyn, Luke, to get the hit and roll. If she can ever just even half bury it behind that redstone, her own redstone there, it does make Emily Bowles' last shot that little bit more difficult.
And I thought I heard there it was 14.5 hog to hog. We've seen about 15.5 make it T-line weight, so that's something that didn't really touch it. It was all on its own. Put in your back pocket to know later in the game. So no doubt see teams needing to make that crucial draw. Gracelyn Richards an opportunity. Maybe get a force in this first end if she can make a nice hit and roll. I'll try and see if they get any roll. And we'll sit right on the nose, back 8 foot. Chance here to blank this first end now for Team Bowles. Melissa, that's a tough one for Gracelyn. You want to try and give that a good effort to try and make the roll, but you're also playing conservative. You'd rather stick around like that than rolling out and leaving a blank effort just on a throw through.
That's exactly right, Luke. You know you don't want to take any chances and help the stone. And we saw, we've talked about it numerous times in the past. I know you and Will talked about the release sensitivity of these rocks and ice. So you just got to make sure you play it safe first, and if you can get that roll afterwards, and that's a kind of a secondary plan. So good throw by Graceland, and now opportunity here for Emily to try and get this blank.
And we'll end up curling up to the nose. I think it took the curl, got to the nose, and they wanted to make sure that they secure their single point, and they will. So an early 1-0 lead for Bowls over Richards here in the women's U18 provincial final. So one end in, Luke Coley alongside Melissa Saligo for this women's championship final. We're at the Delta Thistle Curling Club. Fairly open first end, a couple of half shots, some great hit and rolls made from both sides. And now it'll be Graceland Richards and her team with the hammer playing end two.
We'll see the strategy of Graceland Richards' team, this first stone coming into the rings for Team Bowls as planned. And we'll see if Graceland ignores it or decides to hit it. I think she's going to play the hit.
And try and roll it off to the side, maybe that delayed corner guard. Here is
Yes,
Carly Hardy will look to do that.
That's exactly what she's doing, Luke. In the men's game earlier, we did see the corner guards going up earlier in the end, but this is a great strategy as well, trying to hit the first one and roll away from the center line.
So stays top of the 12-foot, rolls off to the side. Chelsea Taylor try and roll back to the center.
Nice shot.
So just at the top part of the rings.
With hammer here, really, Luke, they could even nose this one and kind of have their corner guard and then just see what Emily does. Emily may chase it just because it's so tight, but by hitting and rolling in, you're pretty much guaranteeing that Team Bowls will walk up there and hit yours as well.
Well, trying to hold this at least to get the nose, maybe anywhere on the inside. There's that nose hit, so corner guard is up.
I don't mind that at all, to be honest.
Now this is the 5th stone still coming, so you can't remove that one. Sort of caught themselves thinking they're a little later in the end.
Yeah, and that's why I just think that that spot for Team Richards was a really good spot. You got your corner guard, it can't be removed yet. And it forces Team Bowls now to have to come to the center. They can throw up a center or they can come in top 12. But if they come too deep, you got to look for that hit and roll now by Team Richards.
Well, this one will come back part of the rings, going back 8, back right on the center line. It's a little more on the conservative side, Melissa, as using the corner guard as opposed to the straight come around.
I was just going to say that too, Luke. I think we're thinking along the same lines here. Obviously, you can play the hit and roll, which is never an easy shot. You have to roll so precise, but because that rock was so far back, you could also play just the straight come around to the 8-foot.
And the hit will roll out, so they don't make the roll, they don't make the hit and stick. Now that hit and roll off the corner guard is an option.
Yeah, I think both teams just trying to feel it out here and feel out each other and see who wants to make the first move.
Well, there's the hit and trying to just roll to either in the rings or a center guard, but now nothing in. That first stone coming in, I think Gracelyn Richards had no problem keeping it open, just playing the hits.
Great chance to get some draw weight.
Yeah, and Melissa, you see them going to the wing. You're trying to get to different spots, maybe get a half shot on the hit or a complete miss, get an easy 2, or just get an idea for different spots in the ice.
Well, you're for Team Richards, obviously with the hammer, they're going to throw to the wings, and either one is fine. But yeah, you need to see some different draw paths as well. You need to know what the ice is doing, and I mean the ice has been fairly consistent all week, and so a big shout out to the ice makers here in Delta. Done such a great job. But you never want to give your opponent the same look at a rock too many times. So this is a great opportunity to put it in a different spot.
So Meredith Cole will have to do just that. Always a good sign from their front end, just keeping it clean. When you mentioned it, Melissa, about the staff here at the Delta Thistle Curling Club and everyone with Curl BC and everyone involved with this event to make sure it, first of all, got played, and then to make sure it goes through successfully. And we're seeing the shot making by these curlers due to the ice makers, the staff at the club, and everyone, to make sure everyone's being safe with protocols, and then also just to make sure the event runs as it normally would in a pre or post-pandemic world.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, we're very, very fortunate to have been able to have this event for sure. And, you know, it was touch and go there for a while, but, you know, we're trying to ensure the safety of everybody. And we just can't thank everyone enough for all they've done to help us put this event on with such success. I can get that word out, success.
It is a mouthful. It's a mouthful for all the players to try and think. We could be a BC provincial champion if we win one curling game.
That's
Obviously,
right.
a 1-0 game. Bulls leading. Richards with the hammer. And you saw on the women's side the parity between the teams. There's 4 teams that were tied at 3-2 after round robin. Actually took a tiebreaker for Team Wheatcroft to get to yesterday's semifinal. And now these two are in the final with identical records, but different routes to get here.
That just shows you the strength of the field at this U18 level for the women. It's fantastic, and it's just so great to see.
Well, consistent hits on that. This time they'll roll to a different spot in the house for skip stones. Melissa, these two teams, as the men's side, are part of the high performance system in BC, and these two are very experienced compared to some of the other maybe younger teams in the U18. Having not played in as many provincial, national level events. Gracelyn Richards at the Canada Winter Games, and that at a young age. So that definitely is something to show, and the significance of these events.
Oh, it's amazing, and you know I'm so proud to see both of these teams, just like the 2 men's teams that were in it, that they're all part of the high performance program at Curl BC, and you know, as you said, both teams have lots of experience, and this team, Team Bowls, just coming back from playing at the national event for that special U21 qualifier that they won earlier in the fall. So they've also already had a national experience so far this year. But to watch these teams over the last number of years just continue to perform and continue to grow and develop, it's just been really, really fun to watch.
Got to look at the great team shot using the good throw, the sweeping, and the line call there by Meredith Cole and Team Bowles. Now Gracelyn Richards looking to play the hit with her first, and probably doesn't mind maybe a little roll to the wing.
Exactly, just try and move the rock around a little. You know, I have to say about these two teams as well, Luke, is that they both have implemented a very regimented physical training program as well as a mental training program this year. And it's really showing in how they're performing out here today.
Well, and the hit will sit back 4 foot, splitting the center line. Just going through the same routine, important for these players. Talked about the fitness and that. It's the mental side of it. Go through the same routine. Emily Bowles puts the broom down, whether it's a draw to hit the button or playing this hit. Probably wants this right on the nose, force that long rollout from her opponent.
And for Gracelyn Richards, I would say that at this point in the end, obviously she wants to blank the send and retain hammer to go into the third. You know, one of these teams, like we said, is going to have to try and get some rocks in play and try and, you know, get some things going and try and manufacture a deuce.
Well, and the hit will roll off to the side. And will it hang around? It won't, so it'll mean a throw through to blank the end for Gracelyn Richards. It was Bowles in the first that nose hit a blank try. It led to their single point, and now Richards can keep the hammer to the third end, trailing 1-0. So the final stone will get thrown through. Team Gracelyn Richards will have the hammer, trailing 1-0 after 2 ends of play in this BC U18 Provincial Championship final. So third end begins, a 1-0 game. It is Team Bowles leading in this one. Chelsea Taylor will start off this one, try and get that center line guard in play.
Nicely done.
So it looks like we'll see a little bit more aggressive approach from both sides, seeing the guards going up. This
Yeah,
one
two
going to
options,
the wing.
obviously, for Richards. They could have come around that center guard. They've elected to draw to the open side and just see if Team Bowles is going to chase them. They could have thrown the corner guard as well, which would be very aggressive. shot by Chelsea.
Well, it doesn't seem like a difficult one, but it's important. You make that stick, roll out, give a chance to either come around, utilize that guard. That's why important to follow right back up here for Carly Hardy to make this hit and stick.
Nice shot by Carly.
And a great sweep to hold that one. You heard the urgency, and make sure you hold that line. Seen a couple of McCuskers at that second position doing some big sweeping.
Kira looking for a hit and roll here.
So roll across the other side. Playing these hit and rolls, do you try and roll to the center or go to the wing?
I would really like to see them roll behind the center, but I know that Grayson did indicate hit and roll to the wing. At some point here, you do have to make a decision of whether or not to, you know, start being a little bit more offensive on your calls, but it's a good shot by Grace.
Well, and it's moving to different spots, and you see the smile on that, knowing they were trying to go away. It ends up rolling the other way. So back 8 foot, just that one stone in the rings, the center line guard. Again, Richard's definitely a game plan of how to go about it, not wanting to get into a game around that center line, it seems, at this point.
Yeah, they've obviously had a good discussion about it and how they want to play this game exactly, and right now they're being very, very patient and willing to kind of keep it open, waiting for a mistake and hopefully the opportunity to take advantage of it.
And we saw a few of those mistakes yesterday from Richard's opponent and Team Wheatcroft, especially early, led to some opportunities to set up ends. And just obviously a little bit more experienced bowls team than Team Wheatcroft that hasn't made the half shots that we saw yesterday. And that's leading to back and forth in this. Neither side really wanting to take the risk right now.
That's right. It's also really difficult, I would just say, from a coaching perspective, though, Luke, it is very difficult just to hit up and down the sheet for 8 ends as well. So you know that at some point, someone's going to make a decision to change things up. Because you have to, stay focused for 8 ends, and it's really hard to do that when you think in your mind that you might be throwing these easier shots. Because this is a provincial final, so there's really no easy shots out there. Grace McCusker trying to get this one to hit and stick.
Right on the nose. They're hoping for maybe a little rollout. And we talk about just these shots back and forth. Both been pretty accurate. A few rolls a little further, but both these teams executing on the hit and stick so far here in this third end.
I think the percentages are pretty good right now.
Well, Melissa, it doesn't matter on the percentage at the end. It's the scoreboard. You can curl a 92% game, but if you lose it, 2-1.
Yeah, that's very true. Tried to get the roll, but no success yet. I think they're inching towards that center line a little more.
Probably based on the way that she's called it. Graceland will look to try and keep this to the wing. If Keeley can make that little roll to the outside. And I'll try and get any roll to the outside, and very nice.
What a great shot.
That's a tough one, Melissa, because you're also flirting with possibly rolling out, and a tough line call to make sure you're catching the right angle and roll that to the wing.
And that's all about the communication there, Luke. That's ensuring that the sweepers let Graceland know what the weight was and how much she's allowed to hit in order to that rock, because if that rock rolls out, that's just a huge opportunity for Team Bowls. So great shot, great call, and great communication. It'll be interesting here, Luke, to see if Emily were to ever hit and roll out here, and she's obviously looking for the nose or roll back towards the center. But if she ever rolled out, it'd be interesting to see what Team Richards would do. They haven't wanted to go around that center at all, so would that be the first chance of doing that? But they may not get that opportunity.
Well, trying to carve this one, guide it over to the wing, get the extra curl. Make contact, and it'll miss everything. So going to the wing. First real big miss in this game so far. So playing to the wings, the roll to the edge of the 12-foot. Trickier spot to play, one that you're not doing as much. And Graceland Richards can split the house. Lie two.
Yeah, having a conversation there with her front end just to check on the weight. Again, probably looking around a 15 and a bit to the wings here.
Important this stays in the rings. Don't think you're gonna take on that cross house double.
I don't think so. I mean, ideally you wanted a T-line for sure, but I think that's a great spot as long as it's in and you're line two. Nice shot by Graceland.
So in there now, how hard will Emily Bowles play this to make the roll? Do you go real aggressive, or?
Honestly, I would go super aggressive. You might as well try and make it perfect. Right now, you're looking at giving a deuce anyways. So if you can be aggressive on the roll, and if you ever make it, it just makes Graceland's shot a lot harder to get her deuce. So I would go for it.
So without the hammer, leading 1-0 in the game, Emily Bowles, her final shot of this third end. Oh, big scrub the whole way here. Got to try and save this one.
Oh no.
And it'll miss two flashes by Bowles. And a draw for a third point in this third end.
What was the time?
She was trying to throw an 11 there, Luke, but I heard just 10-8, so it looks like it might have been okay for the speed. Maybe just got a little bit tight or soft on her release or something. I think they were both surprised at how much that curled.
What an opportunity now for Richards. Just a couple stones previous, it was the roll by Keely Duncan. Got 2 misses from her opponent. Now hit the paint and a triple goes up.
No, we're not curling.
Just a clean by Grace McCusker.
Well,
And a
trying
great
to make sure
shot.
this stops in the rings. Again, back part of the house. And it is there, uses all of the 12-foot for 3 points. And an early lead now after 3 ends with the triple in 3-1. Richards leading Bowls. Well, the big score of the game comes in that 3rd end. A 3 put up. It was a 4 in the men's final that ended up leading to Team Fenton winning the men's side. A 3 that Gracelyn Richards and her team would love to propel them to a provincial championship. Luke Oley alongside Melissa Saligo. And it was a seamless, harmless setup to begin, and just 2 mistakes from Bowles that led to it.
Very uncharacteristic of Emily Bowles to miss those 2 shots, and no one expected that the way the end was progressing. And you know, great opportunity for Team Richards to get that 3 on the board. But Bowles now with hammer here in 4 will try and get a deuce back, ignoring that rock in the rings and going to throw up a corner guard. The main thing about that last end, Luke, is just going to school and taking some learnings from that. Just trying to figure out if it was the ice that you weren't sure about, or was the way it was released, or maybe it was the weight. But making sure you put that in your memory bank for ends to come.
Just trying to position these 2 in the rings. A 3-1 lead. Still lots of game to go. Tough seeing the 3 go up, and just trying to stay patient, still stick to the plan.
Yeah, 2 options here, as we mentioned in the past. You could play the hit and roll, which is very, very precise, or you can just play the straight draw, come around the corner. But sometimes it's not comfortable leaving those 2 opposition stones in the middle of the sheet there, so this is a way to get rid of 1 and try and get the roll as well. Almost gets the double.
The back one. It's inside of the 12-foot, so real nice effort. Make that roll off to the side. And now we're getting to that wide side where we have seen a couple of mistakes made by the teams in this game, going to the wide side, playing a hit.
This is the first one we'll see in with the out turn here, or the counter clockwise rotation way out there in the wings. Just see it falling back, hey?
Yeah, you get close to that board side, and nice read to make the hit and stick. I've seen that tendency, and the scouting report from Will Sutton yesterday is what he's heard is does go a little bit more, maybe falls or curls a bit more towards where those pillars are on the right of your screen.
So depending on how offensive Team Bowls wants to be here, Luke, there is the option to draw around the corner guard and completely ignore those two red stones. One's behind the tee line and one is just on the edge of the 12-foot. But I think for Team Bowls, they're a little bit more comfortable trying to hit the one that's in the back of the rings.
And makes the hit, sits there. And I think I agree, Melissa. It seems to be just in seeing in the first few ends that neither side really, they want to take a cautious approach to it. They're cautiously aggressive and finding their spots of when to make that move.
And I think that, you know, contrary to what just happened in the third end, you're not going to get those kind of misses all the time, and so you do have to take your openings when they come. And if that means that, like for this one, for example, if this even rolls out, instead of hitting this one on the top red, which I don't know what Emily's about to do, but I love this draw. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah, I was happy to see and excited to see the
Yep.
quick indication that, you know what, you roll out. Now you're just facing that one in the 12-foot. So the half shot. Now Kira McCoy go around that corner guard you put up. Hasn't been a lot of draws, Melissa, so we'll see how close they are with draw weight.
That's correct. It's been a lot of hits so far this game. The line looks fantastic. Weight looks pretty good too.
Just needs to
Need it to stop.
sit down. Line was absolutely perfect on that.
Wow.
Just a little too much weight. I think you'll like that, Melissa.
You know me. If you draw to the open side, which is I think the first call I heard, that's okay. But if I were Team Bowls, I would ignore those two stones and then try and get one around behind that center or corner, and that becomes the problem rock. So I like this call.
Well, rolls it off. Doesn't get it out of play, but it opens up that side and actually guards part of their own.
So Meredith's going to throw about board weight. Would love to actually get to almost the nose or what you can see of that stone and leave the shooter right there just biting.
Trying to get this one over, make the hit, bring it to the heart of the rings, away from that guard.
It's a good shot.
Very nice. That's a tough spot on the ice that we've seen have some issues, so roll off to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It's not generating the offense that obviously need. It's still a 2-point game after that 3-ender, but for Emily Bowles now, looks like going to be an open play on her next one. She's going to have a chance to get a little confidence, build that momentum up, make a couple of hits, try and blank the end, keep the hammer now. Actually, we'll get her draw weight. She won't have to. Try and use that wide corner.
There's enough to get half around there, I think.
Yeah, I'd give this one a real good chance. Probably see a quicker spot drawing to the wing. Hasn't been played as much.
Yeah, the girls haven't touched this one at all yet.
gets around that one. And if it sits, it has the right weight, it's going to be in the rings.
I think it's a bit heavy, maybe. Yeah.
That's not the
Good
result, but a
try.
real good effort. Like, Melissa, that's only 2-3 feet from being absolutely perfect, fully buried on the edge of the 12-foot.
And that was not an easy shot, that's for sure. And a really good attempt, as you say. So I'm not sure if did Grayson call the same shot, or is she going to the open side?
I think she's going to the open side.
Okay.
I thought I saw.
That's what I would expect, just to keep the play away from that half corner guard. With the way things have set up here, I think both teams, well, not both teams, but Bowls for sure with Hammer would be happy with a blank.
Just a weight discussion for Richards, and first to skip stone in this fourth end.
Good brushing.
Yeah, real nice draw in there, top of the 4-foot. And they'll try and see if they can get make the roll actually into the one that was just thrown by Meredith Cole.
I like that. I like the fact that Emily actually indicated that you can try and roll, as you say, right to the face of that blue stone that's just barely touching the boards there. That would be a great shot.
And fairly low risk, Melissa, knowing that draw, even if you roll out, you miss it. That draw is very difficult to get behind that corner guard for Richards to get a cheap force.
Exactly. Be a little aggressive with this as well. Try and get a
Make
big
the
roll.
hit. Try and roll it all the way over, jump it into the side. And then
What a great
try.
shot. Oh, wow.
Right to the side, and maybe a little bit early on the sweep call, they can hold it, but it's a real tough one to call, to know exactly where you need to hit. But good bounce back shot for Emily Bowles.
Very good. You know, they were on and off that one the whole way, and another foot, that's absolutely perfect. So really good shot by Emily. Does give Grayson this opportunity though to hit and roll back towards the center. Should be very happy with that.
Gracelyn Richards going after that one. Can make a roll herself and try and get a force. Got to make sure you make contact with it, and won't.
Wow.
So the roll good enough that causes the mistake, and it'll be a draw for Emily Bowles to tie this game up at the break.
That was unexpected for sure. I mean, going away, we saw that intern going to the wing on the right-hand side. As we look at it now, that one of, I believe Emily's didn't curl and flashed it on that side. Same thing just happened here to Gracelyn on the intern coming home. So very, very interesting. Again, really important that both teams go to school and try and remember all these paths for later in this game. So a huge opportunity here now for Emily Bowles.
Chance to make her 2 shots in this fourth end. Make it a 3-3 game with her final shot of this end. Sweepers seem to like it, just keeping it close. They don't want to leave this one short. chance to tie the game up. And that one will slide in, and it will
Nicely
be
done.
good for Emily Bowles to get the 2. And we are halfway through this BC U18 provincial final, and it is all tied up. 3-3, Richards and Bowles from Delta, BC. Well, we're through 4 ends. Luke Coley alongside Melissa Saligo, and a tie game. But really the big thing is that a little bit of a conservative strategy from both of these teams.
And in all honesty, I think I'm a little bit surprised, Luke. I would expect you to come out conservative perhaps in the first end, maybe even the second end. But I've seen both of these teams play so much, and I know that they can play with lots of rocks in play. We saw that yesterday in the semifinal. They make some great shots. They've got lots of great strategy, everything, and I'm just a little surprised that they haven't gone after each other a little bit more because they're so even in where they are. It's someone's got to make a move. Someone's got to put the foot on the gas pedal and get going.
Well, and just prior to that last shot from Gracelyn Richards, the one she missed, I was thinking it's going to be Emily Bowles that's going to have to put a little bit of pressure on, try and force the issue. But now we're tied. It's a 4-end game, and Gracelyn Richards gets the hammer back. Do they maybe stick with the same game plan they've had?
The only reason I would think that they will in the 5th end, perhaps, is because it's the 5th end, it's the odd end. And, if Gracelyn could ever blank the 5th and get hammer in 6th, she's in really good shape, obviously, for the last 3 ends. But, we saw a few misses, and I think there's been a lot of nerves out there, even though both these teams have been in this position before. But I think it's, I really believe the ice is so good, it's consistent, and I really think that they need to start putting some rocks in play and really trying to go after their opponent.
Well, we're through 4 ends. It's 3-3, and the all came really on mistakes. You don't like to point those out, but that's how the big ends happen. We saw 2 misses from Emily Bowles, the miss by Gracelyn Richards. And do you think as a coach going into that 4th end break, is this something, do you highlight those, or is it, let's focus on what we did well?
I think you focus a little bit on what you did well. I mean, those were just open hits, not expected from those 2 players at all, and just put them behind you. What's really important is what's going to happen in this next 4 ends. And, especially with Gracelyn Richard, what are you going to do with hammer here in the 5th end? And if they go short, are you going to come around, or are you going to go to the wing? If they go in, are you going to hit it? And you have to figure that out now, and you have to figure out, and these are conversations that have taken place all year long. What do you want to be in the 7th end? What do you want to be in the 8th end? And these teams have had those discussions. So it's time, as I say, I'm going to keep pushing the envelope. I'm going to say there's going to be rocks in play.
There you go. Well, let's, let's hope for some of that, get some excitement, build that up. The players, obviously, they want to just have more points at the end. But I mean, the ice surface has been great, and we've talked about it throughout. But Melissa, great chance here. We can really highlight the people that have made this event happen, and without them, the BC U18 Provincial Championship doesn't happen.
Oh, that's so very true, and we can't thank Delta enough. And I've got my list here. Linda Romer, who's the manager of the curling club. Thank you so much for everything that she's done. We have Henry Wong, who's our chief umpire, and of course Curl BC, Lindsay Shannon and Jason Liu, who's been the event managers this week, the ice crew, and of course Brian Cole and Lisa Bowles. Hence those names, Cole and Bowles. They are co-chairs, and they've done a great job of putting this event on. They may have kids out on the ice right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Or coincidence? Who knows?
Who knows?
We have the second half of this championship final to come. If you missed it, it was the men's side earlier today. Adam Fenton and his team, congratulations to them on a well-played final. All 4 of these teams in the finals are off to the U18 Nationals as well, so I think that needs to be mentioned. Those teams, they get the opportunity to go to a national championship, despite whether winning or losing, but we mentioned it earlier on the men's side. They're playing for a provincial title to be a BC champ.
There's nothing better than that. Well, there is.
So 4 ends.
Right now.
4 ends to determine, or more, who will be our champion. On the women's side is Gracelyn Richards and her side that have the hammer. This first stone, and there it is, the centerline guard to start off the second half. Bulls will want to force the issue, will try and put the pressure on, not let Gracelyn Richards get that easy blank or a cheap blank.
And I love that call, right? This is the 5th end without hammer. You have to put one up short. You have to see what your opposition with the hammer is going to do. And we're looking at it right now as Carly Hardy's being asked to draw around that center guard. You know, I was thinking, Luke, in the break, you know, we already know both teams are going to the Nationals, so you almost could have come into the game plan today with just trying to put lots of rocks in play, trying to do some different things and whatever, but that's not what it's about, right? It's about winning that very important provincial championship. So I please don't take me wrong when I'm saying that we should see some rocks in play. Like, the teams have a game plan, and I'm very respectful of that. But I think it's now time to change the game plan, which is what we've just seen in these first 2 rocks.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that the coaches mentioned as well. A lot of discussion. And in that high performance system, as we see Chelsea Taylor, the lead for Team Bowles, it's really important you stick to where your strengths are, and maybe that's where they feel that they can have the best chance to win the game. Obviously, watching the game and doing that, see a few more stones, can be a little bit more entertainment for us fans, but for them out on the ice, they want to win the game.
Definitely, and the thing is, I've seen these 2 teams play, and I know that they can make all kinds of shots, and I know that they have the capability of doing anything that they want to do out there, and so that's kind of why I'm pushing the envelope. And I think that, you know, you have to remember, we've said it 100 times, it's a provincial final. There's going to be nerves, there's going to be emotions, and you have to put everything in check. And if you know, you said a good point, play to your strengths. So right now, if you're not feeling overly comfortable, then you're going to play to how you feel. And if feeling, you know, what we've seen thus far, that's perfect. That's a great way to do it.
So a couple in for Richards early in this one. They lie to, they have the hammer. Kira McCoy, a second for Team Bowles. This team out of the Royal City Curling Club.
There's a couple of options here. They were trying to debate which one to hit, and they went with the high one. They could have tried to hit and roll over top. That's a good shot though by Kira.
Well, it's a nose hit, and I think for Richards, they were willing to play around that center guard, but the miss early by Chelsea Taylor means opens things up. Oh, we can play some hits and we can lie too, trying to score a deuce.
Yeah, pretty much the goal here for Graceland's team is just trying to keep those red stones as far apart as possible while continuing to be in the rings.
So the hit and the roll off to the side.
Nice spot.
Well, you can't spread them much more than where they sit right now.
No, that's very true.
And for a team, for bowls here, knowing they are, how do you try and go about it? What's the game plan now within the end to how do you get out of this?
I think it's fairly simple. You just keep trying to hit and roll back towards the center, hit and roll back towards the center, and just inch your way back to try and group those stones or get near that corner guard, anything like that.
So the nose hit, it is shot stone.
Ultimately, you're probably looking at giving up a deuce here right now if you don't get a miss from Team Richards. So you just got to keep trying to inch towards that center line. And Graceland Richards will be doing the opposite. She'll be trying to stay away from the center line. Both teams doing a very good job of managing their weight, their hit weights. A nice control. Give your rushers a job to do by managing them.
Little roll to the center ends up maybe actually a little bonus roll for Team Bulls to get them closer.
I actually saw, Luke, I think I just saw Emily say nose hit here, and you know, you're not going to get too many more chances with Team Richards rolling that way, so I would almost be I would consider trying to roll more behind that corner guard now, and just so enough that you're out counting that redstone that's top 12. The nose hit's just going to allow Team Richards to roll the opposite way, so
Wow.
This is a good shot.
Very nice. There is the roll
Great
they
shot.
needed. It's partially covered. It's shot stone. And it's closer to that other one.
That was an awesome shot.
And that's a build-up of a few shots. They got the roll from their opponent. And Keely Duncan's going to try and chase after it, but can't get it all, that whole roll in one. They tried to pick away at it shot by shot.
That's right. So easy hack weight here for Keely. Would love to get a piece and save her shooter. Option 2 is to just tick the top guard and roll her shooter onto the rings, but I think she's by.
Oh, very nice. They're going to get the big
Wow.
roll. Nice rolls back and forth as they hang around and are two
Well
opposite
done.
ends out of the 12-foot.
That was not an easy shot. That was well done.
No, and Melissa, now, do you ever think about the come around if you're Emily Bowles now? Last of third stones to come around that guard to try and get out of the end.
As much as you'd like to, I don't think he would do it yet, simply because you don't have hammer. If you had hammer, I would say absolutely, but I think you've got to hit here, hope for a mistake by Team Richards. Like, as long as you hit and stick and force them to throw the hit.
Well, they hit and roll out. Just to keep these two red stones separated.
Just that position of the corner guard, Luke, it's not a great position. It's only covering maybe half of the 8-foot if you were to draw around. So, but because of that rollout now, this gives Keely a great opportunity. She wants to be full 8 here, somewhere on the left-hand side of the sheet.
They want to spread them out, but need to be in the rings.
can guarantee you that Emily's looking back at the third end. This is where she threw her second shot that she unfortunately overcurled and missed her hit in the third end. So she's going to be thinking about that and making sure she throws this one right up to the broom.
Yeah, and really didn't think she threw the wrong weight at it either, so tough to get that one out of your mind.
Yep, just talk about it, know what she needs to do, and then put it out of your mind is right.
So first, skip stones facing a couple of red Richard stones on the opposite ends of the house. Again, a big sweep on this one. She'll have contact and a little roll into the heart of the rings.
Nice shot.
Yeah, wouldn't have known a couple ends ago she missed one in that spot with that result. I think even a nose hit here for Richards, you're going to be okay.
I think so. That red one's in such a tough position, there really isn't a double, I don't think, off it. As long as she hits and sticks, or just a hit and rolls to a little to the outside is good too.
Well, they gave up 2 on her last shot miss in that fourth end. Trying to get 2 right back in end number 5.
Going hard for the curl. Nice shot.
Almost sit side of the forefoot. Real tough, but to just play the hit and swallow that you're probably going to have to give up 2 in this 5th end.
I think they talked about the roll. I'm not sure if they can get a roll buried, but if it's there, they'll try. I think moving the rock around for sure, just to give Gracelyn Richards a different look.
Trying to get this one to curl a bit more, try and get the roll, but we'll be right on the nose. It'll be an opportunity for 2 right back. Chance to answer for Gracelyn Richards to get her 2-point lead back with just 3 ends remaining. The final stone here of end number 5.
Gotta love hearing clean.
It's music to curlers' ears, just a clean through the nose. And the deuce will go up. 2 more for Richards. They get their 2-point lead back through 5 ends. 5-3 the score here in the BC U18 Provincial Final. Well, Emily Bowles and Meredith Cole discussing things as we play end number 6, Luke Coley alongside Melissa Saligo, the Delta Thistle Curling Club, the BC U18 Provincial Final A 5-3 lead. First stone coming in, and I want to see Emily Bowles now. I think we'll have to go aggressively, try and generate some offense.
This is the end to do it for sure, Luke. You have hammer. It's the 6th end, down 2 points. Right now you have your 2 hammers to 1 if it were to play out. So really need to get a nice corner guard up here for Chelsea. Just try and figure out a way to manufacture 2 points.
Well, good start. See if they go to a second corner and how they play at it. You mentioned it, Melissa, that both these teams are not afraid to play with stones in as they play in all kinds of events. It's just been more of a conservative game as far as that strategy so far in this one, but they're able to and have no problem. We saw Gracelyn Richards and her team yesterday play with lots of stones around, so see what we get in these next few ends.
And that's one of the things, you know, if I put my coaching hat on, Luke, is if you play defensive for a good part of the game and then, you know, you get a 2-point deficit or a 3-point deficit even, and now you have to change your complete strategy to go offensive, you haven't had as many opportunities to practice those kinds of shots so far in the game, and that's where, you know, it becomes quite a disparity between the defensive and offensive games. So that's kind of why I like to see some teams, you know, with hammer at least, trying to mix it up a little bit. You know, you can always bail out if things aren't going your way, and we'll just see what happens here. I mean, that was this is an opportunity now to get lots of rocks in play, and we'll just see how both teams handle it.
Well, they elect to play that hit on early in rather than a second corner or coming around. Sticking with the definite favoring the hit to the draw from both sides.
So opportunity here for Kira to try and get a hit and roll behind that corner guard.
Well, trying to find a way. You put that corner guard up. You want to try and utilize it. Gracelyn Richards has to be happy in this style of game with a 2-point lead.
Yeah, definitely Gracelyn will be happy to continue to exchange hits here. It's really important though for Grace McCusker now to hit and stick here. If she, you know, if things go badly and if she happens to roll out, it does leave that come around an option for Emily. So really trying to get the hit and stick, maybe a roll away a little. That's a nice shot.
So those 2 red stones belonging to Team Richards. Bowles with the hammer, trailing 5-3 in the game.
I know it doesn't look pretty, Luke, but I would be very tempted to play the come around now. Those 2 rocks are kind of off to the side. I know one of them is touching the forefoot, but if you could ever get one fully buried behind that guard, it would force Team Richards to have to chase you. Rather, right now what's happening is Emily Bowles' team is chasing Team Richards.
And those hit and rolls have to be so precise. That's a little off and rolls out. Might not have a corner guard anyway.
And if she peels this, you're Your end's pretty much gone. I like it too, Graceland.
Seemed like a little doubt in playing it, but I think her instinct was right to go up and rip this guard for Keely Duncan.
Definitely. No need to leave it there. Nice shot.
So just that one stone in the rings. And these are 8 end games. If you're just tuning in, not sure, it's been 8 ends throughout the event. Difference, it's getting down to the final 3 ends and second half of the 6th end. Electing to hit on that one.
Kira just letting Emily know it was maybe a little heavier than expected, so trying to sweep for curl.
Will hit and roll out. So nothing in play here. It was Bowles winning the round robin game between these two. It was 6-5. A 4-way tie at 3-2 because of tiebreaker scenarios put Emily Bowles and her team right through to the final. Graceland Richards had to go through the semifinal, winning yesterday on a great last stone run back by Graceland Richards to beat Team Wheatcroft. This one for Keely Duncan, back part of the house. Kind of thought is to freeze to it.
Yeah, I think that's what she's thinking, but I think it's behind. It's so far back, and you know it would be an easy pick for Team Richards, I believe. So I think it's time just to try and get out of here with a blank and take the hammer into the next end.
Well, it will hit and roll out. So doesn't stick around for Cole. So just conferring on the weight and where you want to put this. Anywhere in particular, or is that you prefer to go into, Melissa, or just anywhere really?
I like where she has the broom. Just maybe put it to the side of the forefoot. You know, just maybe trying to find a spot that Emily Bowles hasn't seen for a while or hasn't seen yet. Most importantly, just really dialing in your draw weight for the last 2 ends of this game. Nice positive rotation there by Graceland.
This one just to the back part of the house, biting back forefoot.
Now because that rock's in a better place, Luke, you can see the conversation going on right now as to whether they should freeze to it or not. Never an easy shot, but I don't mind this at all. Just hit and stick.
Yeah, it'd be a real change to all of a sudden try and change your plan at this point.
Yeah, and you don't want to get forced either. Like a force here isn't great for Emily Bowles, so I don't mind this call at all.
So thought about playing the freeze, electing to keep with their strategy here in the 6th end, play the hit. A little roll outside.
It's interesting to see the preferences of both skips there, Luke. You see Emily plays the outside in hits and Graceland tends to go the inside out hits.
And is that a preference, just a preference of the player, or is strategy to one way?
I think it's mostly preference. I've always been an outside in hitter, and especially on curling ice, you try and take the curl out of the situation and get your sweepers involved a bit more. But the ice is so consistent both ways that I think either one is ideal. Nice shot.
Right on the nose. So after all those hits, now this, try and cap it off. It was back in end number 1 that it was a blank try for Emily Bowles. Had to take a single point here. She'll want to try and not do that. She wants to keep the hammer heading into the 7th end. You see, as you mentioned, Melissa, the other turn here to try and have the shooter roll the short distance.
That's right. And just tighten up the ice a bit so she'll throw that little extra weight. Try and get some action off her shooter to not duplicate what she did a number of ends ago.
Well, as soon as you know you got contact, you can hold it for the line and we'll actually cross it, try and roll it out. Little plan B and an alert line call by Meredith Cole to blank the end for Team Bowles. So it keeps it a 5-3 advantage for Graceland Richards and her Comox Valley Curling Club squad. 2 ends remaining in Delta. So the team's a little in between end discussion here at the BC U18 Provincial Championship. The Delta Thistle Curling Club playing host this year, both the men's and women's championship. Luke Coley alongside Melissa Saligo here. Pleasure to be alongside you for the final game here of this season's U18 Provincial Championship. 5-3 is the score in this one. Richards leading. Emily Bowles and her side have the hammer.
Nice shot there by Carly, making sure that that rock is in the rings. The 2-point lead, you definitely don't want to put up a guard.
And they'll probably put their second one on top of it, or even maybe a little bump.
I would think so. Ideally, your first one, top 8, top 4. The girls swept that one as far as it would go. So corner guard going up here by Team Bowles.
So the corner's a little longer, close to center, but it is out in front, something they'll have to try and utilize.
So looking for top 4 weight, Luke. They're just going to play the little bump as you mentioned earlier. I don't mind the freeze bump. Just keeping those rocks on the center line. It's got lots of weight on it though, I think.
Well, there's that communication, managing the stone. And we'll split those two around in the house. Actually gives that one behind cover something that could be used with that corner guard out in front.
This is Chelsea looking for the intern freeze. That rock that just slipped behind the tee line. Little bump's not bad either.
They want to try and get a little to the inside of it.
Ideally, to the nose or slightly on the inside is great.
Really pushing to try and get it all the way there.
Oh, good brushing.
Real good
Great
sweep
brushing.
there. McCoy and Cole. Not shot stone, but it's in top of the 8-foot, in behind cover.
Looks like they're going to throw about hack weight here, Luke. Grace McCusker. You can see probably about half that blue stone that was just thrown by Chelsea. And if you can see what you can hit with hack, you can remove it from play. And if it ever over curled and you stick the guard with hack weight, that guard's likely not going to go to the ring. So it'd be all good either way.
Yeah, and there's the chip shot. We'll just push that to a corner on the other side. Opens up that blue stone. Real smart call, knowing playing that weight.
Very much so.
There's a little opening now. Emily Bowles and her side try and go after this.
Looks like they're playing the hit and try and roll behind that corner guard. Their nose isn't too bad.
Well, the hit stays top of the 12-foot.
This is a good call by Graceland, just staying away from those two rocks on the left side of the sheet as the thrower looks at it. Try and hit third shot here. Maybe roll a little bit towards the center.
Well, there's the hit. Try and even corner that one. Actually rolls to the opposite side till it doesn't line up to that back yet red.
What a shot.
Got it. Absolutely the perfect roll if you're going to freeze to it. And Richards with the lead makes the nice roll. Now Kira McCoy playing that come around, trying to use the corner guard they have.
I think this is a smart call by Emily. Just try and pull the play away from that side of the ice right now and try and get another rock in play and force Team Richards to have to make a decision as to what they want to do. You don't want to leave, obviously, too many opposition stones in play. This one we won't be shot, but at least it's in play and fully buried. That's a nice shot by Kira.
Yeah, very nice. Not fully buried, but
Not
enough
fully
of it's
buried.
protected.
Yeah, there's, I mean, obviously that guard's a bit of a teaser, so.
Oh, the extra communication here coming in late stages of this provincial final. Really pushing, get it past the front.
Nice shot.
And rolls it in a little bit. Still is shot stone belonging to Richards. That one in behind on the left of your screen, back of the 8-foot. Melissa, are they trying to roll behind the corner or trying to roll maybe to the shot, towards shot stone?
It looks like she's indicated to roll behind the corner. One more try at this. Definitely both options are good. Just be afraid to group your stones too early here. There's still 3 rocks to go after this one now.
I'll make the nose hit.
So you heard Graceland say that if they nose this one, it's basically forced shot at that point. And will they now make an attempt on the other side of the sheet? If you're getting down here late in the end, you're going to have to deal with those rocks, especially the shot rock.
Yeah, and real tough to get at because of where that roll went to, that freeze on top of the blue one. Don't think that they'll drag, will they, Melissa, in order to try and get at it?
I think they will drag. Like from this angle now, it looks like it will drag right onto that red stone. But when you look at the overhead, it doesn't look as good of an angle. It still will drag, but I'm not sure that it'll drag enough. You hit half a stone on the center line side, but you have to hit it with enough weight to create some force, but then you'd potentially lose your shooter.
Try and make this big roll, trying to get some sort of protection. Tucks a little bit behind.
There's the indication that red is 1 and 3, which is huge at this point on skip stones. So they don't really have to deal with that 4th shot right now.
Well, and if you're Richards, do you even deal with those 2 that are frozen together?
Just wondering if you ever throw up a guard. If you're Team Richards and you're going to play red onto blue, you're hitting it on the board side, on the left-hand side as we look at it on your screen. And depending on how hard you hit it or how thin you hit it, you may lose your shooter, which could change the look of this end. So I don't know, Luke, do you ever throw a guard on that?
I was kind of
Make
thinking
team bowls.
just adds one more that they'd have to deal with in order to get at shot stone. So at this point, you have a 2-point lead. Force your opponent to make the difficult shot.
I agree. If you don't play it right now, if you don't throw your rock, it still potentially could take 2 rocks to get both those red ones out. And there's only 2 rocks left to come for Team Bowls. So I would seriously consider throwing a guard. I mean, if you throw a guard in the wrong spot, Team Bowls could come around it, but we'll have us hopefully call the timeouts. We'll see what Coach Adam Duncan has to say.
Yeah, I never think a really good time to call that timeout. The uncertainty of whether you make that play, and I think Coach might say, you know what, let them deal with that. We'll deal with our side with throwing a guard, force them to make the difficult shot.
The other option, I like that option. The other option is to draw to the forefoot on the other side and sit 2. I like that a lot. Almost better than the guard, actually. But you have to think, if you hit that one red onto blue, that red stone will not now be out counting the other blue stone that's forced shot. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, and here's where you see some teams still, it's a tough scenario to understand exactly how those angles will all react. Looks like what Coach Adam Duncan's discussing, how they're going to react based on the angle that it's sitting on.
Right, so the theory here with the drag effect is if you hit it on the left-hand side of the rock, both rocks move together to the right. So it's as if the 2 rocks would act as one. So you have to think about that. When the rocks are really close and they have a drag effect, there's a good look at it, they'll act as one rock. So if you think that you hit that on the outside, they'll both go to our left as we're looking at it. And then the opposite is true if you hit it on the center line side.
Which is how Team Bowls would have to play it on the center line side in order to try and get that drag to remove shot stone. That back red one. I think that's the discussion. So draw that and thinking of the draw to maybe try and get the second shot, throw the guard, or play at it. We'll see with the decision.
And if you're
on this
play
now.
at it, yeah. I mean, there's definitely those 3 options. If you play at it, you almost have to throw it hard and just kill it. I'm not sure what they've decided to do once we have a look at the house again here. You're going to play it?
We're going to make a play on it, and I think you got to throw big weight to try and slash that across the top and avoid catching your own. I didn't think they would play it. I thought they might throw the guard, but I'm actually kind of glad to see how it's going to react. You talk about it, you never actually always see those opportunities.
That's true. So I'm going to assume that she's looking for just a little on the high side, so a little on the board side.
Well, did it make a jump? They got to hit this on the high side. Oh,
wow.
Big sweep. Do they hit in the right side? Now will actually clip shot stone, but rolls in on both those reds. So they lose shot stone, bring those other ones into the top. Now a look at the double is a very flat one, but even if you hit and roll onto the side, you might have some options if your team bowls now.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you hit that middle one first and roll towards that red one on the side of the 8. It's hard to hit it. I know it's a little bit higher, but you think that what's going to happen is it would push it right across towards that blue stone. I don't know. It is a little higher, so you're supposed to hit the higher one first. Not sure how hard Emily can throw it, but we'll find out.
Yeah, that's the problem, it being so flat. I think a good result would just be even if you roll to the center line, sit on the corner of that.
Mm-hmm. I don't
Then whatever
know
Graceland
if she
Richards
can make
does,
them
she has
both.
to has the risk. Yeah. I think it's there without touching the blue.
Coach is calling a timeout here. I
Oh.
kind of like hitting the center one first and rolling out to the wing myself, but we'll see what Chris Summers has to say.
Well, 7th end and the important discussions.
What do you like, Luke? Do you like the center one first, or do you like the outside one first?
My first thought was hitting the outside one, trying to roll to the center, but I think if you look at it, if you hit that one and try and roll to the wing, and be able to avoid the jam in the back, you'll have shot, and then you'll also have 3rd and 4th, and whatever Graceland Richards does could bring a big end, possibly, if you get a little miscue.
That's what I'm wondering.
And I don't know if they can throw enough weight. There's a lot of players in the game that can't make that double takeout because of there's not a lot of difference in the height in the house.
Yeah, it's difficult at the elite level, never mind U18 level here. And I heard her say a 9, and I don't think a 9 from hog to hog would even be fast enough. I think they're actually looking at maybe as well of hitting that middle one and rolling behind the guard, but I'm not sure there's enough room to do that. So I think they're going to go with their original call here.
And does it matter which turn you play at it to make that roll?
If you want it flatter, you're going to play the, as we're looking at it, from the outside across the face of the rock. That would be the flatter roll. But again,
so it'd be
with
the
that
intern
kind
with
of
a clockwise rotation.
Correct, yeah, but you'd have to throw a ton of weight at it.
And with this ice, I think I thought I heard 10, that you're just hitting and rolling now.
Yeah, with a 10, that's definitely the call. I think realizing that the double is very, very difficult.
Trying to cross it, they want to try and get the roll in. Will nose it. So now just that one red stone for Graceland Richards.
You know, when you look at the house right now, Luke, not a bad situation here for Team Bowls. Even though she didn't get the hit and roll, they're lying 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the 7th end with only 2 rocks to go. So big decision here for Graceland Richards and trying to decide where to put the stone. No point in really hitting too much unless you hit and roll. You have to be second shot somewhere in the rings. And you don't want to leave a double, obviously.
Yeah, and the hit and roll is so tough because you have to go to a spot where you don't set up a double. And because of where they are, the one to hit in the 12-foot, you probably, on the right-hand side, you hit it, you're not going to count the other ones. You got to roll in, and then there's a double.
I like where they've got their brooms right now, that back 8 away from the center. I like that spot. As long as your second shot, first or second shot.
would one option, the one that's partially behind that corner guard, you try and hit and roll off of it and maybe kick your red one out to the other sides, separate them a bit?
The only danger with that is if you group your red stones, then you're looking at it potentially giving up 3. That just, because you'd have to hit it hard enough to move your red one, sideways. I'm not sure. I kind of like where Grayson's pointing with her broom there. Back 8, off the center at the out turn. That might be your best option.
Well, they're thinking the same way to play this, and the precision is needed. Need to be second shot. But Emily Bowles and her team have put the pressure on Gracelyn Richards. We'll see what she can do here, leading in this game 5-3.
So you're throwing this as to T line and letting your brushers take it that extra couple feet behind the T line.
It's Carly's rock. Carly's rock. Let it go. Hard. Come on, girls. Fully.
Got to be second shot. Can't set up a double. Well, do they get it in far enough? It is in and even. Is there enough room? Can you make that double?
I think so. I think
this one might be easier than the look of the previous one that with the long discussion. And only have to kick it out into the 12-foot. Don't have to remove that second one. Great sweep to get it that far and get 1-2.
Is she throwing the... I'm not sure what turn she's throwing.
Is it the in-turn, the clockwise rotation?
I would like to see her throw the clockwise with a little bit more ice. She only needs to hit about half a stone. But she's got the broom right on the stone here. We'll have to see. Yeah, it's an in-turn. I thought the ice might curl a little bit more than what she's giving herself.
Well, final stone of the 7th end here.
She's throwing it
Looking
hard.
at the double takeout. Chance to score 4.
I saw Emily's face. I'm not sure she liked it.
And we'll
I
hit
don't
it
think
on
she
the
gave
other
herself
side.
a chance.
And we'll give up a steal of 1. So instead of a potential big end, it is the steal. And the lead increases now to 3 points heading to the 8th end. So 8th end, 6-3 game. A chance was there. You mentioned it, Melissa. Maybe not giving himself enough ice, giving herself enough of a chance to make that double. They had the chance and put the pressure on.
Yeah, I'm just very curious as to where she put that broom down. Um, you know, we've seen the rocks curl quite a bit, you know, regardless of weight, and I know she was throwing it harder for sure, but I think you still needed probably an inch or two of ice there just to give yourself a chance, and she let that go, and you saw her face right away, Emily, and she knew that she missed it. So just unfortunate that maybe they didn't think that process through a little bit more and maybe put the broom in the right position. So now they're down 3. They've got Hammer here in the 8th end, just all about trying to get some guards up.
Well, in
They had a
same
first
situation
half
as we
shot.
saw in the men's final.
Exactly.
3-point
That's
game.
right.
There was a chance to try and score 3, but for Chris Parkinson and his team. But Gracelyn Richards will try to avoid being in that position. First one deep in the house for Carly Hardy.
And that's a half shot for Carly. They definitely didn't want behind the tee line. So is she being asked to hit her own out here?
Looks like it.
That's a great shot.
Don't see it that often, but gets rid of it. Clears the house. Here,
you never want to hit your own out, of course, but I get why Gracelyn called that for sure. That rock was not going to help Team Richards in any way, shape, or form, so might as well get rid of it.
Well, trying to get the long corner now on this side. I don't know if they're going to have enough to get this one over. And it's unfortunate timing for that one to come up and have to be pulled from play. Not 3-point game. Do you throw it through? Do you put another one top 4 foot? Like at this point, maybe just throw it through. Is any stone now actually helping your opponent?
Well, we had that conversation a mere few hours ago, Luke, and you know I'm a proponent of I don't need another point to score or to win. Pardon me, if I'm Team Richards, I just need to prevent my opposition from getting 3. And the only thing that's going to help my opposition is if I put rocks in the wrong place. So as soon as I have that opportunity to peel, I will. But if you know, going through is not the end of the world. There's no problem throwing your rocks through here. I know people will probably disagree with me, but there's absolutely no reason for it.
Keep yourself out of trouble. There's nothing that can cause harm in playing the peels. You can play them either way that you want. You could play that outside in turn rather than trying to play the inside out if that's your preference, which we've seen.
So looking for another high corner. This one's going to slip into the rings here.
Well, now they can rip. They can get rid of anything. You actually go after everything if you want right now.
Yeah, just make one of them go away for sure. I like peeling the guard.
Well, I like that. That's the guard out of play, cause you the trouble. And when you don't get that second guard out in front, that's the problems that can be caused.
Don't want this too close to the rings. Got to keep any chance away from Team Richards from having any opportunity to play a run through or run back. So just don't need this too deep. Nice shot.
I'll try and stay clean on getting rid of these guards. Well, and rolls out a lot easier. I think there's a little worry you can hear the intensity, knowing what they're playing for right now with every shot. One shot closer to a U18 provincial championship. Melissa, you probably go, at least got to put up one more guard. We'll have to come in to try and lie 3.
I think you have to almost keep throwing a guard, because as soon as you split the rings, that's not going to be enough, and they can just hit an open one. So you really have to hope for a miss right now if your team bowls. Just put up a guard, maybe show half of the rock in the house, you know, kind of that teaser look, and just see what Team Richards decides to do. And if I was Team Richards, I would just keep peeling the guard, not even hesitate. You don't want to bring this one in.
No, and I think they almost thought it because of it being it over curling. But make one of them go away. First objective, if you get the second one, it's a bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same throw here for Keeley.
Double definitely makes things a lot easier, but trying to get rid of it.
Close.
And one,
what a
make
shot.
the double, and there it is.
Wow.
3 stones remaining. They're going to have 2 shots to remove 1 stone to become BC champs.
What a terrific shot by Keely Duncan. And you have to think, Luke, you just think about yesterday's semifinal, that difficult shot that Graceland Richards had to make in the 8th end just to get here, and now they're 1 shot away, 1 takeout away from being BC champions.
Yeah, I'm sure many more as well throughout the round robin. Lots of shots they can look to. Emily Bowles knows they need to get this one into the rings to have a chance, and need 2 misses from Graceland Richards. And not just half misses, needs complete misses. As that one will...
Nice brushing.
Very close.
It's splittable.
It is. We'll see if they have the opportunity, and the broom goes down for Graceland Richards to make this go away and become the 2022 provincial champion. We mentioned earlier, both teams will go to the U18 national championship, but this game here in Graceland, an opportunity to head to those nationals as the BC champ.
Graceland just taking that extra second in the hack.
This is just her first, a 6-3 lead, but this can run Emily Bowles and her team out of stones. Well, just a clean.
There it is.
And that will run Emily Bowles out of stones, and Graceland Richards is your 2022 U18 provincial champion for British Columbia. A well-played game by them. Full marks to both sides getting to this, but the celebration can begin for Graceland Richards and her team. They are BC champions for 2022. Yeah, big smiles around their coach, Adam Duncan, coming out. came through and made the shots when they needed, and capitalize on the mistakes of their opponents, and the emotions coming out on everyone there. A lot of hard work comes through and earned that victory is Gracelyn Richards. You mentioned it, Melissa, the run back they made yesterday, she made with her last rock to get to this game. And from that score of 3 on, they capitalized on the mistakes, and that was the big key in this championship game.
That's right, and we just look back to, you know, Gracelyn made that one error, I think it was in the 4th end, and then didn't look back after that, just took advantage of every opportunity and made some fantastic shots along the way, and every right for this team to celebrate. Congratulations to Team Richards on being the BC champions, and to Team Bowls, who will also be going to the national championship. So great to see.
Well, and we have the 2 champions, the celebration on the men's side, Adam Fenton and his team winning, and here Gracelyn Richards and their side winning. So the U18 champions are declared for BC. Congratulations to all 4 of the teams in the final and everyone participating. As you see, the few fans in attendance, the Delta Thistle Curling Club, they've done a great job hosting this event, and it is Gracelyn Richards with the championship title. Of course, more curling for BC. It's the men's and women's provincial championship coming up starting January 4th, all the way through to the finals next weekend. It's been a pleasure to be alongside Melissa Saligo, myself, Luke Coley, and everyone that's brought all this to you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully catch more coverage of BC curling coming up starting on Tuesday into the men's and women's provincials.